Greetings. This is John Joseph Xavier Cihon coming at you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Today, I have the Darkest Image anthology. I just got the physical copy, showed up in the mail yesterday. I have it in my hands today. And before we talk about that, I just want to take a brief moment. Now, if you haven't yet done so, please slap that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's a little thing, but it does really help. And you will be notified of future videos if you like this sort of content. As well, there are links to tip in the description. Anything you can do is welcomed, but don't feel any obligation. But it is very much appreciated. So with that in mind, what is this? This is an anthology, all independent creators. And it's a tribute to the Image comics of the 90s. So it's the characters from the Image comics, fan-made project, unauthorized. And the money's donated to charity. Money goes to the Comic Book Legal Defense Foundation. And I believe there's over 200 pages. And we have just all sorts of stories. The longest is 6 pages or so, I believe, involving different Image characters. This is the sort of thing that kind of defies review, because there's going to be stories you like, there's going to be stories that may not be so much to your taste. It does require that you have a pretty decent knowledge of the Image comics of the 90s. And if you don't know who the characters on this cover are, this book might confuse the hell out of you. But if you know who they are, this is what you want, because Image is not giving us, for the most part, these sorts of stories and these sorts of characters that a lot of us grew up on. Now, I do have 2 stories in this book. The first one that I wrote and drew with colors provided by Peter DeLuca is a Gen 13 reunion story. So that came out alright. The second story, I'm not going to show it to you. Kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I wrote the story and sent it off to the artist to do, and he never gave me the completed files once he drew them, so I didn't know what it was going to look like. He changed some of the dialogue, in my opinion, made it worse. Obviously, he doesn't think so. That's his prerogative. And then in the credits, he listed himself at top as Meat and Potatoes, and my name under his as Concept and Dialogue. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I wrote it. To say I just did Concept and Dialogue and list yourself as Meat and Potatoes, it kind of implies that you did the story. So, I mean, it came to him, the story was completely done, finished. And I'm like, okay, now I know why you didn't send me the completed artwork and I didn't see it. Because you tried to imply credit for things that you didn't do. It really leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And obviously, I am not going to collaborate with that guy again. But I am proud of the story that I wrote and drew. And there's all sorts of other stories in here as well. I'm going to throw a link up in the description. So the physical copies of this are sold out right now. But you can get a download. It's $5. So if you're even a little bit interested, definitely worth the $5. And a second issue should be coming out in 2022. I have some stuff in the works for that. So I look forward to sharing it with you. And I think the story I did in the first one is as good as I could do at the time, but 2022 is going to be even better. Every time I draw something, do something else, it's another opportunity to learn. And to close it out, there's an interview that I did to promote this right when it came out. So it's a long interview with a bunch of creators. I'm going to chop my section out and put it on the end of this video. So thank you for watching. Enjoy the interview that tells you a little bit more about my stories and their connection to sneaker culture in one case. And Have a great day.
We got more people here. John Cihon, I haven't seen you for a minute, man. What's going on with you?
Oh no.
Hey, I'm actually just getting over COVID.
Oh shit, you had
Honest.
COVID.
But it sucked, but I was never in any real serious danger. Like I didn't need any treatment other than rest.
Oh,
So I'm self-employed, so I've basically just been chilling in bed for the past couple weeks.
Dang, man. Did you use some of that time to work on your art and stuff, or and tell us a little bit about what you did for Image Grand Design too? Or sorry,
A little bit.
Darkest Image.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I have two stories in it. The first is a Gen 13 story that I wrote and drew.
Nice.
And the idea behind that is Gen 13 is just so 90s. It's totally 90s to the core. It's of its time period. And I think Wildstorm and DC have had trouble reviving the property because it is so linked to the 90s. I mean, you've got a character named Grunge, for God's sake.
Yeah, right.
So I was a teen in the 90s, and I said to myself, okay, where would these characters be if they aged up in real time? They're middle-aged now.
Got it.
What's going on with their lives? And so they come together at Lynch's funeral, and I did some math. I can't remember how old, but I think Lynch is about 70 because I know he was in Vietnam. So I was like looking for clues in books and trying to figure out how old he'd be.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, Lynch is 70. Lynch died. We don't say why, probably natural causes, and they all got back together. So that's the springboard of the story. I hate drawing. I like the end results. But I have some ideas for what happens after that story, so maybe we'll see that.
Nice.
And then the other story, I talked to an artist who ultimately dropped out, and I said to him, what kind of story do you want to do? And we hit on a story set in the early Image days where Bloodstrike tries to recruit Savage Dragon. In the last issue of the Dragon miniseries, before the regular series, Badrock tries to recruit him. And then this takes place before, and basically Bloodstrike comes in because Badrock screwed it up because he's Badrock.
Yeah.
And they try to recruit him. And so the story's about that. One of the things that's really cool, the artist, Graham Miller, I believe is his name. I don't see him here, but he's got a really cool color palette. He did it in black and white, and then he went in and added some spot colors. And just a very obscure piece of trivia, the inspiration for that color scheme, if there's any sneakerheads in the audience, these are the Nike Dunk Deer Summer. They came out in 50 different colors in August, and they're basically gray, and they've got these little pops of color on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to do artwork that was black and white gray with little pops of color. So I sent Graham Miller like pictures of all 50 of these dunks, and I was like, this is your inspiration when you color it.
Interesting. That's smart.
So that's the thought. You won't necessarily know that, but that was the inspiration, and I love sneakers. I collect sneakers, so I thought it was cool to sort of work that in.
Wait, do you have all 50 colors of those Nike Dunks?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
They go on the aftermarket for like $400 a piece.
Wow.
Okay.
I think there's only one person who owns all 50, and they own a store in Vegas. So they got them so they can put them all in the store.
Nice.
They have like a museum in Vegas. Don't they have like a shoe museum somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in Pittsburgh. I've never been there. It looks cool. But no, I have a couple, and then I just send them pictures of all of them.
Nice. Very cool.